Let's get it. One day away from the start of the NFL draft. And with Cam Ward expected to go number 1, all eyes on the next 3 picks. We're with the Browns, who pick 2nd, the Giants, who pick 3rd, and the Patriots, who pick 4th. We're going to start with reporter Jeremy Fowler, who is live from the Browns facility in Berea, Ohio. Jeremy, what can you tell us about Cleveland's plans with pick 2?
Jay, after talking with sources with the team this morning, the Cleveland Browns remain open-minded to a potential trade with the 2nd overall pick. As one team source told me, it would be foolish to not at least consider this, and they could add to their 10-pick haul moving forward. Now, they have a very short list of players that they would consider in the early 1st round. Colorado's Travis Hunter is indeed one of them, and the majority of people I've talked to around the league do expect Hunter to be the pick and for Cleveland to stay put. And really, Jay, the momentum with Hunter built a couple weeks ago at Colorado's Pro Day. I was told that Travis Hunter ran routes at his Pro Day in part because he knew it would make the Browns happy. The Browns see him as primarily a wide receiver, while other teams see him as more of a cornerback. So the buzz here in Cleveland is certainly building around that potential pick of Hunter. We just spoke with new quarterback Joe Flacco. He said clearly Travis Hunter is more than an athlete. He is a serious football player if he can handle 2 positions.
Indeed. Cleveland's 3 wins last season were their fewest since going 0-16 back in 2017. And you know they're hoping whoever they pick at number 2 will help increase that win total. Jeremy Fowler, my man, thank you so much. Let's go over to Shay.
Jay, let's move on down the draft board to the Giants, who have picked number 3. And so for that, we go to Sal Paolantonio, who joins us live. And Sal, what can you tell us about New York's plans to address the quarterback position in this draft?
Well, happy draft to you, Shea Cornette. And I just spoke moments ago with New York Giants general manager Joe Schoen one-on-one, and we had a chat about where the Giants are. And he said, quote, there's no mandate for them to pick a quarterback in this draft, but the Giants believe they are well positioned because of the work they've done on quarterbacks. And they have done so much work on Shedeur Sanders out of Colorado, probably more than any other team. So much so that one person in the league said it's been like Joe Schoen lived in Boulder, Colorado for a while. They've visited with him, worked him out, scouted him, went to his games. They've also done a ton of work on Jackson Dart of Ole Miss. And look at this quarterback, Jackson Dart. He's like a Josh Allen miniature. He can do exactly what Josh Allen did in Buffalo. And, of course, as we know, Brian Daboll coached in Buffalo. They also did a ton of work on Tyler Shuck and, of course, Jalen Milroe. But the bottom line is I don't think the Giants are going to take a quarterback at number 3. I think they believe they're well positioned to take the best possible blue chip prospect on the board. They are taking calls from teams, however. Joe Schoen confirmed to me they're taking calls. On the clock at 3, they will get more calls from teams trying to move up to number 3, and they are well positioned, if need be, to go up into the 1st round, to take a quarterback later in the 1st round. But I don't think they're really heavily invested in the idea of taking a bunch of picks and going back up into the 1st round to take a quarterback. They don't want to invest a lot of picks to do that. They're happy with Russell Wilson as their starter in 2025. And Joe Schoen told me, hey, I want to do what's best for the New York Giants in 2025.
Look, the New York Giants aren't all that familiar with taking quarterbacks in the 1st round. They've only done it 3 times since 1967. Fun trivia for Sal Pal. Do you know who those 3 quarterbacks are that they took in the 1st round?
Well, I got to get the first one right because he lives really close by and he's a close friend of mine. That would be Phil Simms. So I think I got that one correct.
Yep.
And I was here for Daniel Jones, so I know that one is correct. But this is a trick question because the Giants actually drafted Phillip Rivers and then wound up getting Eli Manning, who went on to win the last 2 Super Bowls for the New York Football Giants. So I'm going to say Phillip Rivers is the answer.
Look at you. Nothing gets by Sal Pal. I'll tell you, man. He is draft ready no matter what he says. Sal Pal, we appreciate you. Thank you.
You knew he was going to get it. He's Sal Pal. You knew he was. All right, the Patriots have pick 4. That is where we find Mike Reese. Mike, what can you tell us about New England's plan for that pick in the draft as a whole?
Well, Jay, I hope there's no trivia questions for me, but let me tell you about the Patriots' draft intentions. If there's one thing to know, it's that they are convicted to come out of this draft with more support around quarterback Drake May. They feel like they have their franchise quarterback of the future. Now it's about putting pieces around him to give him the best chance to succeed. Now, they are open to trading down, but head coach Mike Vrabel has also said he feels like left tackle will be good for the Patriots in this draft, and they've spent a lot of time with Ella.
Mike,
Join us now live from Green Bay. And Adam, I'm going to start with you. We got news yesterday that the Browns and Giants were fielding calls from teams about trading up for picks 2 and 3. What is the latest you're hearing?
I think there's just been as much talk about teams calling the Browns to see if they'd want to move back into the end of the first round as there has been teams trying to come up. Look, we have not seen a trade yet with a team involving its first-round draft pick. Every team still holds its initial first-round draft pick, and we'll probably get some action tomorrow night at some point in the draft. But right now, it's been quiet. It continues to be quiet. That's partly because of the quarterback draft class that is not as good as other years. It's partly because teams value the players in the second and third round in this draft. We may see a move for a pick at 2 or 3, but right now it has been quiet there.
All right, Mike T, let's dig into this a little deeper. Which team do you think should be aggressive in trying to trade up to one of those spots?
Jay, the Las Vegas Raiders should try to go from 6 to 3 with the Giants for Boise State running back Ashton Jeanty, and here's why. Pete Carroll was brought in to stabilize rushes of 50 yards or more, 17 yards after contact. And when you think about the impact Saquon Barkley had on the Eagles, a healthy Christian McCaffrey with the 49ers, that's what Ashton Jeanty could do for the Raiders. And to make sure that Jacksonville doesn't take him at 5, go up and get him.
Oof, number 3 drafting a running back, though. Very bold. Let's pivot to one of the draft's most intriguing players. That would be Shedeur Sanders. Adam, what have you been hearing about the factors that teams are weighing when thinking about drafting Shedeur?
Well, again, we're all waiting to see where he's going to go, and he's still the number 1 top-rated quarterback on Mel Kiper Jr.'s draft board. He was the number 1 quarterback by many. At the end of the season, Cam Ward has passed him and has leapfrogged him into the top slot of this draft, where Tennessee is expected to pick Cam Ward number 1 overall, and teams are trying to decide where they should take Shedeur Sanders. But clearly he's not going to go, we don't think, as high as many people forecasted him to when this season ended. The first team would be the New York Giants, potentially at number 3. I think the feeling around the league is that pick is not likely to happen, but it can't be ruled out. You'd have the Saints at 9. Nobody's expecting Shedeur Sanders to go there. Pittsburgh at 21 remains a possibility. They'll have an organizational decision to make should Shedeur Sanders be there at 21, but that will be one of the main central storylines of Thursday night, where and if Shedeur Sanders gets picked.
Mike, where do you think would be the best fit for Shedeur?
Jay, absolutely the Pittsburgh Steelers at 21. The bad news is Aaron Rodgers goes on Pat McAfee a week ago and says he's not ready to make a decision. The good news is that's before the draft. When you go out and spend $30 million a year and a second-round pick on DK Metcalf, your expectations are Mason Rudolph isn't throwing him the ball. Shedeur Sanders is a really good quarterback. I think he could come in and start right away. And if I'm Pittsburgh, Jay, I'm in a must-get quarterback mode. I'm not negotiating. I'm going up and paying the bill. Tell me what's going to cost. Because if you're the Steelers, you have to come out of tomorrow night with a quarterback of your future, because you're really out of options beyond Mason Rudolph.
We will have a camera on Shedeur Sanders at all times tomorrow throughout the first round of the draft. I am certain of that. Let's go to the team with the 12th pick. That would be the Cowboys. Jerry Jones said yesterday that the team was working on, quote, pretty substantive trades. Adam, what are you hearing about Dallas right now?
Listen, I think Dallas right now could talk all they want about big trades. There have been a lack